Hello YouTube and welcome back to Miston857. So first of all, I want to start by thanking all of my new subscribers. I do notice when you guys subscribe and I appreciate it a lot. I am really happy to have new people come to this channel. I'm really happy if I inspire anybody. And today we're going to start on that topic of inspiration. So basically what I wanted to talk about today was, why'd you recast my face up, bro? What does that mean? What is a recasted face up anyway? Well, like I said in my last video, um, when you're new to the hobby, you hear about recast, but you think that recast are just basically, the dolls that are re-sculpted to be the legitimate ones, to look like them. Exactly. Well, when somebody says a recasted face up, basically they're talking about copying their design. Now, like I've mentioned before, I don't mind sharing my dolls with you guys personally because I don't believe that anybody is as talented as my artist. Now, let's say there's not talented artists. That just means that I feel like you can duplicate, but you can't replicate, if that makes sense. But now I know some of my personal friends who are artists, and they are terrified. I mean, they're literally crying. I mean, they're sad. They're crying. I mean, imagine if you, and we kind of hit on this before, but imagine if you were depressed. Okay, so you created this magical, wonderful doll, and you went for the kind of eyebrows you wanted, the kind of eye color you wanted, the kind of hair you wanted. Um, Everything was the way you wanted it. And then you happen to be on Flickr or Pinterest or Tumblr, and you see your doll and you're like, hey, did somebody steal this from my Facebook? Or what the hell, you know what I mean? And then it comes to find out they copied your face up. Now, there's two sides to the spectrum on that. Some people are like, well, you can't copyright a face up. And then other people are like, I was basically complimenting you by doing this. Personally, if that happened to me, I'd have mine redone. It just irks me. It bothers me. I feel like people. Now look, let me put it this way, because I've mentioned before that when I was new to the hobby, I went through a ton of Tumblrs, I went through a ton of Facebooks, I went through a ton of different groups and stuff, right? And I was getting really inspired. Well, I'm not going to be inspired to copy somebody's design directly. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you can take elements of someone's art and say, I want to do something similar to that. Okay? But there's similar and then there's straight copying. So, my stance is I don't think it's polite, but at the same sense, I can say they were inspired by something I did, they like it that much, they want to do it that way. But at the end of the day, it just makes them less creative. Because if you have to copy somebody's work, it's like copying somebody's homework. It's like copying the way somebody dresses, copy the way they act, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, if you have to copy that, then it's not uniquely yours. Anyway, so my friend says you actually can copyright some of your face ups, like some of the tattoos on the faces and whatnot. The problem is that's a photo and the subject are two different things. So if you're copywriting that photo, they can't do anything with it. But the subject itself, you see, it gets kind of complicated that way. And the fact of the matter is, we don't really know if somebody steals our designs. We just don't. Unless they post on a public forum, like I said, Tumblr, Pinterest, Facebook, whatever, we don't really know if they're copying. Somebody could go through my YouTube right now and pick one of my dolls, any random one of them. Now, mark that some of them I don't have anymore. But they could pick one and be like, I really like the way this is done. I'm going to copy it. Let me tell you, this is crazy, but it's true. I have seen some of the exact same sculpts, the exact same wigs, the exact same eyes, the exact same face up, the exact same clothes. And I'm thinking, why do you want what somebody else has? Because you can't remake the emotion or feeling of what the person felt. And what I mean by that is if you look at Dorian, which is one of my favorite dolls, there's the first and the second. The first is the doll Chateau Merlin, and the second is the doll Chateau Larry. But if you look at Dorian, both of them, the first and the second, and you're like, I really love this doll. I want to make it or remake it, whatever you want us to call it, you know. Why not get inspired by it and do your own thing? You know what I mean? Like I said, you can take elements of something. What I mean by elements is looking at Val Zietler. You can learn some shading techniques and stuff like that, and layering techniques and shadowing techniques and blushing techniques. All that stuff can be learned, and just keep going at it and get better and better at your face ups. That's awesome. Um, but trying to copy a face up exactly is kind of crazy to me. Um, Now, somebody can try to combat me that way. They'll say, well, you said in the other video that if it makes them happy and they're real depressed, then that's okay. Fine, it's your doll. And I've said this before, it's your doll. Do what you want. But at the same time, as an artist and having my artist who feels the exact same way, you're kind of like walking over those of us who really thought out the idea. It may just be something that inspired you. It may just be a doll that you like or want. But to us, it's a journey. It's an adventure. It's like going through all this time and work and effort. Let me tell you something, guys. Do you realize why it takes so long for me to do box openings on this channel or whatnot? It's because that's how long my artist takes. So how disrespectful for you to copy her work directly when the doll that she's working on right now, X, that X doll has been started in as late, well, still kind of late, but early of October. October, November, December, January, February is about to be over. That's 5 months. We're going on 5 months. It's probably going to take 6 before it's done. Now, you can call my artist lazy, but that's not what's happening. What's happening is she is treating it like a work of art. And some of you may say, well, that's way too long. Your doll's going to yellow. Your opinion. My artist is an artist because she's just that. And if it takes a little bit of time to get it back, that's okay. I spent a lot of money for her work. Her work is beautiful. I love it. It brings me life and hope. That same feeling when you have your cat sitting on your bed, that's what I feel when I'm able to have one of the dolls with me. And, and I try to give the ones I have here love because, sometimes I'm like, well, I don't have all of them, so don't love you at all because I want them all. I want the whole group here. But in retrospect, I really do love every single doll. But I do get sort of anxious when you're waiting on a doll. That'll be another video. But what I'm saying is, when you look at a piece of artwork, there's one in particular I want to bring up because I see it all the time and I see people copying it all the time and it just bothers me. But there is this one that I've seen before on Tumblr and they also seen on Pinterest, I believe. And it's a doll that's like in a hospital gown and it looks kind of like it has a little bit of blood on its face and he has like some freckles. It's a beautiful doll. It's a really cool creation. But on the outside looking in, you don't understand the story behind why they did that. Now, I can understand completely being inspired by something different. Some artists don't do the whole blood gore thing, and it's kind of cool to see something unique. But you can be inspired by something, and you can be influenced by it, and you can love it and think it's awesome and follow it. But you shouldn't directly copy it. Like I said, you can take elements of a piece of art, but you shouldn't just go after it like, this is something I'm going to copy. Because it's not fair. It's not fair to the artist. It's not fair to the recipient who gets it back. Or if you're the artist yourself and you do it yourself, and you spend all those hours and time, you, my dear, even more understand what I mean by people quote unquote recasting your face up. Now, I don't really quite think that's the proper term. I don't think you can recast a face up, but you're basically copying something. And like I said, there are ways to copyright things and whatnot. But there's not really any way to stop somebody from doing it. It's just like the recast of the dolls. Somebody could see your thing and just grab a sculpt, a head or body or whatever, and just start blushing it like yours or whatever. And it's just a really unfortunate thing of the hobby. I mean, it's just something in the hobby that we all kind of have to live with. And I don't really think it's right, and I don't think it's fair. But at the same time, because so many people were awful to me when I was new to the hobby and they said terrible things, I kind of understand and get it. Because when you don't have artists and friends in the hobby or people in the hobby to count on and trust and talk to you about what's right and wrong, you don't know. Like, you literally don't know. You can see a Val Zietler doll, or a Dollstown doll, or a Granado doll, or a Lutz, or a Rain doll, or Saffron doll, or even a Bobobi. Because we don't, on this channel, we don't judge on price. We don't do that. That's another video. But we don't judge on price on this channel. Um, but I'm saying you can see any doll, any sculpt, and be inspired. Even the stock image may be great for you. And that's kind of awesome. If you're one of those people who buys it full set and you love the way it looks, kudos to you. That's cheaper. Trust me, it is. Most artists are very expensive these days. And to make the clothes and everything else is, and alpaca wigs, don't even get me started. It's all very high. So if you like it that way, that's great. If you want to have something that everybody else has and you just think it's the prettiest thing, that's awesome. I personally think it's better to have an artist redo it because they're taking their own time to redo it and make it look beautiful. So personally, I go that route. But I'm just saying, if some people are not educated enough in this hobby and they don't understand that it's wrong to copy this picture of this doll in a gown in a hospital, listen, his friend could have had like cancer or HIV or broken their leg. There, believe it or not, there are stories behind these dolls. Even the really, really, really cute ones that have those crazy smiles on them. Um, there's a story behind it. And when you copy it, you're taking away from what it means. Because if I was to ever see one of my dolls of my personal collection in a post anywhere, and it's not like my picture or something, or my video or whatever, it would really, honestly, on a bad day, it would make me start crying. Because they all mean something different to me. And a lot of people look at my collection and they say they're all sad. They're sad, but they still make me smile because I know the story behind why I worked so closely with the artist to have it look that way, for it to be that way. So I'm not going to attack anybody. We don't do this on that channel. We do not do this on this channel. I'm not going to attack anybody for copying somebody's face up. But I think people need to think and understand what elements is. When you completely copy a Michael Kors knockoff and you say, oh, we took off 15%, but it looks the same, it's going to look the same. You know what I mean? So rather than copy their work, I would say if you can, contact the artist that you're inspired by. See if they'll do something for you. Like, and say, oh my gosh, I saw this amazing thing on Tumblr and I just think it's awesome. And if I can commission you, I'd love for you to do something similar like it. Because to an artist, when they do something, it's one of a kind. It just is. You don't go somewhere and be like, oh, I want that exact same sea sponge. Well, sorry, honey, they all come in different shapes and sizes. When you buy a natural sea sponge, you can find one this big or like this small. It's not going to be the same. That's what makes it unique. That's what makes these dolls unique because you're making it the way you want it. So I completely understand being inspired by somebody, but to direct copy is wrong. Especially to go out of your way to get the same sculpt is just weird to me. I mean, and like I said, I can't stop anybody. You can't stop any. Ask anyone in the ball joint doll hobby. We can't stop people from doing it. This has been going on for years. But it doesn't make it hurt any less when we see somebody copy our designs. It just doesn't. So anyway, we're at 15. I'm gonna cut it here because I don't like really crazy long videos. Again, thank you to my new subscribers. If you did like this video, hit the like button. There is a little bell. Click that. It'll tell you when I make a new video. And thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time. Bye.